Okay, this is the third lesson of Module 4, using summer camps. So this isn't a novel idea. A lot of Montessori schools have summer camps during the summer, but I want to talk about using summer camps as a strategy for enrollment for the regular school year. A lot of times when I speak to schools, unfortunately, much like their regular enrollment, their summer camp enrollment is oftentimes all the more so full of students that come from families that are not a really ideal fit for the school throughout the year. So they're getting families coming in that their children go to public school, and the summer camp is kind of used as just like a small sort of revenue boost to help this throughout the year. But I think it's really, really important to think of your summer camp like an extension of your school, or an extension really of your enrollment strategy, to the point where you should not let any students in any summer camp enrollment come in that are not from families that are like your target for enrollment. So you should be very selective in your summer camp, just as selective as you are with your enrollment. Now, of course, this requires having enough inquiries coming in, enough enrollment inquiries coming in, so you're in a position to be selective. And so again, that's assuming you've already gotten the top of the funnel really wide with a lot of awareness, and then inquiries coming in the next stage. You want to operate the exact same way with your summer camp. I mean, summer camp is really just an extension of your school and of your programming. So oftentimes the summer camp will be predominantly students that are, actually already enrolled in your school, hopefully. But you're going to have a lot of times you're going to have some open positions for your summer camp. So fill those openings with other parents that are an ideal fit. So again, you should have a lot of parents that are a good match for your school coming in from your regular enrollment marketing. You want to present early on. You want to present to those parents throughout the year that you also have a summer camp program, and so you can start getting enrollments of your summer camp program from people that have already toured at your school, and people have already that you've already identified. Maybe they're on the waiting list, or they didn't even enroll, but you thought that they were a good fit for your school. Market your summer camp to them, because guess what? During the summer camp, they're going to come in. If it works for them, they're making a much smaller decision, right? Even if they went and enrolled at another school, promote your summer camp to them. You're going to get enrollments from those people. You're going to get summer camp enrollments from those people. And then they're developing a relationship with your school. Your school is now familiar to them. You've gotten to the point where they're actually paying you money, and psychologically that means a lot to somebody who's making a buying decision. So they've, essentially the probability that they will enroll in this school the next year is very, very high. Because, again, if anything's happened at the other school that they decided to go to, then they're going to be looking at your school anyways. But certainly if they have a very deep experience with you, there's a good chance that you can develop a relationship with them, and without being pushy or anything, just letting them know that obviously there's an opportunity to come in. So that's a great opportunity with parents that you've already vetted and have come in for a tour. And then also just other parents in the area. Again, you can use all the same marketing strategies, all of your direct, paid marketing strategies that you're using. Promote your summer camp. Do it early. At least I would say start working on it 3 months before the summer. Get something out there, and then be very selective with those parents. Right? Don't let any parents in that you would not want to enroll in the school the next year. And if you use your summer camp strategically like that, it will not only be full because you have a good marketing strategy, but it will also have a great impact on your enrollment for the following year or the year after. But there's just more leads. It's like a lead for your enrollment that you've actually even been paid for. So there's like a double benefit from it. So something that you want to focus on. Again, most schools do this already, but they're not necessarily using summer camps as strategically as they can. And this is the best way to do it. And you want to focus on it. Like, be completely 100% focused on only allowing the right kind of families into your school at any point in time, even for your summer camp. So this is lesson 4 of module 4, and we're going to be talking about guerrilla marketing tactics. So first of all, let's define that. What is it? So basically, guerrilla marketing is the boots on the ground. It's the type of marketing you do where we're not talking about paid marketing. So I want to say very clearly that based on our experience, much like I've spoken about in other modules. If you're going to pay for marketing, except for in some very rare edge cases, you should put all of your paid marketing into Facebook ads. That's the currently the best way to engage prospective parents. I get no benefit from Facebook, from selling Facebook ads. I have no relationship with them, totally unbiased, except for the fact that we like to see schools succeed, and we like to make sure you use your dollars efficiently. So what I'm going to say is, to that note as well, only use Facebook ads if you have an expert running them, because as much as they are the best way to market your school, the best paid way to market your school, the best way to get the most enrollment out of the smallest amount of marketing dollars, they are also the best way to waste your money if you use them without knowing how to use them. So be cautioned. Don't use Facebook ads. Don't use any paid advertising if it's not being done by an expert. Now, guerrilla marketing. So let's say, and by the way, I will also say that in general, you should put not just all of your money, but all of your time and focus on using Facebook advertising. And optimizing that and building an enrollment strategy around that. But there are other forms of marketing that work. The best one to use, if you have extra time, or let's say you have a real urgency, like you need enrollments right now. Like, your school is going to shut down in a month if you don't get some students, or let's say a few months if you don't get some students in. Or you're going to have to, that's obviously the nuclear, scenario, but let's just say you need to get some enrollments in the next couple months, or you're going to have to start laying people off, which is horrible. It's like the worst. So if you need to get in action, then you need to start employing some guerrilla marketing tactics, okay? Like, be creative. Think of yourself like you're a politician and elections are coming up, and it's time to just put the boots to the ground, and like go door to door if you have to. But again, we're talking about when you don't have, outside of an optimal scenario, and you really need to put things into action, and you need to get just 1 or 2 students in the door just to keep things like in the black or not too far in the red. So what you want to do is start coming up with things that you can do that are like quick, and are, even though it's like not an efficient use of your time, you can get out there. So that's where it's just like shaking hands, showing up at the park, anything you can do to find parents, where it's going to be like, honestly, it's going to be 100 conversations and 100 explanations of what Montessori is or something like that. It's going to be exhausting, but sometimes you're in that place where you just need to just ramp up for a short amount of time and do an insane amount of effort. That's where you want to get into that guerrilla marketing strategies. There's a lot of things that people do. There's a lot of good books out there. And this is where it's really just kind of, you want to become creative, but it doesn't even need to be that creative. It literally can be like just knocking on doors in an area where there's a lot of children, and that with families that are at least demographically a good fit for your school. Go knocking on doors and and just, you're going to be just kind of selling out of passion. And you're not even selling at that point. You're kind of selling. You're selling the tour. You want to sell parents, not on the school. Okay, so if you're going to take this tactic, it's exhausting enough. Make sure that you're not wasting your efforts and that you're selling parents on either an event that you have coming up next week or just coming in to book a tour. You're not selling them, remember, until they've come into the school for a tour. You are not selling Montessori and you are not selling your school. You are selling the parent on coming in for a tour. And you have to focus on the value that they get for that person in that stage of the decision-making process. It's a very sensitive time. So if you approach them trying to sell them something where you're not asking them for money, you're just trying to basically sell them on coming into the school to learn about what your school does. And if you can do that, if you focus on an event, let's say you get 50 parents, you go out canvassing houses and you get 50 parents in for an open house in the next week. For sure, you're going to get 1 or 2 enrollment out of that, and 1 or 2 application fees, or maybe 10 application fees, right? Depending on how well the event goes. So in the scenario where you don't have time to ramp up a proper Facebook campaign and have 3 months to have an expert optimizing it so that it's part of your ongoing year after year marketing strategy, in a real short term, and it's time to get Guerrilla, hit the pavement, but use that very, very sparingly and only in those kind of emergency situations. Okay, this is lesson 5 in our module. This lesson is about direct mailers. So let's first of all talk about what they are. So they're actually the predecessor to Google ads and Facebook ads. So it's all those things that you get in the mail, where it's a postcard and it's there to essentially sell you something. So the idea is called direct mailer because it's going direct to the consumer, and they pick it up and they pay. So it's paid. So you're marketing direct to the consumer, basically, the next question is, should you use that or not? I actually think I'm going to say no, you shouldn't. You should never say never, but again, only in very edge cases, in strange scenarios where maybe you live in a particular rural area and there's just no other way to really reach people. For some reason, the demographics of 28-year-old women in your area are just off Facebook for some reason, which is hard to find, but maybe that's the case. So if you don't have other options, other paid digital marketing options, then I would say probably get benefit from using direct mailing. So you can think of the direct mailing the same way you would build a Facebook ad. Is the exact same imagery and language and copyright, everything. That's what you would put on your direct mailers, on your postcards. So, and vice versa. They are essentially the exact same marketing strategy, just with a very different medium of reaching the customer. Now, the downside of direct mailers is, number one, it's hard to track. There are ways of tracking it, but they're never exact. So as an example, you might send direct mailer, a postcard to a particular area with a specific phone number to call. Or you might actually tell them to, if they do book a tour and come in, to bring that postcard so that they can get some benefit out of it. Now, these are strategies that are less effective for marketing your Montessori school. Ultimately, you just want to say the right message that engages the right parents, and basically motivates them to come in for a tour, sells them on coming in for a tour. They're not going to call a number and buy something. It's not that type of marketing. So now everything works, right? Pretty much all marketing strategies work to some degree. The problem with the direct mailers is that you really can't track it. Even the best tracking strategies for direct mailers are not very accurate, and the ones that are more accurate are very expensive. It just keeps on ratcheting up the price to actually getting value out of them. So it's not a very practical thing to do. And the other thing is it's really hard to test because you can't track. It's hard to test. So as opposed to with Facebook ads, you can test 50 ads at a time and very, very quickly determine, find an ad that performs 1,000% better than the other 49 ads, that you have. So there's much, much less value long-term from direct mailers. But again, sometimes you're in a scenario where you just need to do something, right? You don't have the time to find a Facebook ad expert and find a good one and go through a 3-month sort of optimization campaign. And again, you have to do something. You have to press go. You have to move something and get some enrollment in because you're in sort of an emergency situation. So that's when I would say is the time to use something like a direct mailer, or in the previous lesson in this module talking about doing guerrilla tactics. You could call direct mailing sort of a guerrilla tactic, but it's not because it's paid. So that's when you want to use direct mailers. I would say avoid it as much as possible. It's never going to perform as well as a Facebook campaign run by an expert, for sure. Even if you hire an expert to do the direct mailing campaign, for it to be optimized and testable, the prices are going to be exorbitant in comparison to using your digital methods. So again, use them as a sort of a last-ditch effort. If you are in an emergency situation, again, hit the ground. I would say, if I was in that position, I was running a school, I would combine direct mailers with guerrilla marketing, right? So again, guerrilla marketing is great because it's not paid, it's your time. So of course there is an expense to it, but you're not outlaying cash flow from the school to get the enrollment. And then you might want to, along with the guerrilla, do a direct mailer first, so that there's some type of awareness out there, and then when you come knocking on the door, it's not as unexpected, so that you've kind of even somewhat warmed up the parents to the idea, and again, you're selling them on coming in for a tour. That's what should be in the direct mailer, and then you're knocking on the door, doing your door-to-door campaign, talking about the same thing. Again, you're only trying to sell them on the tour, but specifically with direct mailers, only in last case scenarios, and only if you don't have the time to get. So if you're going to pay money for direct mailing, only in a scenario where you can't better spend it on using a Facebook campaign with an expert.